The rain fell hard on the empty streets of New Terra City's industrial district. Dr. Marcus Johnson gripped the steering wheel of his hover car as the engine made strange, clicking sounds. The dashboard lights flickered red, then died completely. He pulled over to the side of the road and turned off the engine. Marcus rubbed his tired eyes. He had been working for 16 hours straight at the Galactic Medical Research Center. The new treatment for Altarian blood disease was almost ready, but it needed more testing. He was one of only 3 doctors on Earth who understood alien biology well enough to create medicines that worked for both humans and other species. The hover car would not start again. Marcus tried the communication system, but it was dead too. He looked around the dark street. Empty warehouses lined both sides. A few broken streetlights cast weak yellow circles on the wet pavement. This was not the best place to be stuck at midnight. Marcus reached for his personal communicator and called for a repair service. The automated voice told him it would take 2 hours for someone to arrive. He sighed and settled back in his seat to wait. Bright lights suddenly filled his mirrors. A police hover car pulled up behind him, its blue and red lights flashing. 2 officers got out and walked toward his car. Marcus rolled down his window. "Good evening, officers," Marcus said politely. "My car broke down. I already called for help." Officer Kevin Miller shone a flashlight directly into Marcus's face. He was a big man with short gray hair and cold blue eyes. "Step out of the vehicle," he ordered. Marcus blinked in the bright light. "Is there a problem? I'm just waiting for a repair service." "I said, get out," Miller repeated, his hand moving to his weapon. Marcus slowly opened the door and stepped onto the wet street. The second officer, Danny Ross, was younger with brown hair and a thin mustache. He walked around the car looking through the windows. "What are you doing in this area?" Officer Miller asked. "I was driving home from work when my car broke down," Marcus explained. He pulled out his identification card. "I work at the Galactic Medical Research Center. I'm Dr. Marcus Johnson." Miller took the ID card and studied it with his flashlight. He laughed. "This is fake." "Excuse me?" Marcus said, confused. "You expect me to believe that you're some big important doctor?" Miller showed the card to Ross. "Look at this guy, Danny. Does he look like a doctor to you?" Ross smirked. "Not the kind I've ever seen. Probably stole this ID from someone." Marcus felt his stomach tighten. "Officer, that identification is real. You can verify it through the research center's database." "Sure it is," Miller said. "And I'm the Emperor of Mars." Both officers laughed. Another hover car arrived, this one unmarked. A woman in an expensive gray suit got out. She was tall and thin with short blonde hair and sharp features. Marcus recognized her from news broadcasts. Judge Patricia Hayes, one of the most powerful judges in the city court system. "What do we have here, officers?" Judge Hayes asked as she approached. "Found this guy broken down in the industrial district," Miller explained. "Claims to be some fancy doctor, but his story doesn't add up. Look at this fake ID he's carrying." Judge Hayes took the identification card and examined it. "Dr. Marcus Johnson, xenobiologist," she read aloud, then looked at Marcus with disbelief. "The Galactic Medical Research Center? That's where they develop treatments for alien diseases. Very high security clearance required." "Exactly," Marcus said, relieved that someone understood the importance of his work. "I've been working late on a new treatment protocol." Judge Hayes handed the card back to Miller. "People like him are always trying to get into places they don't belong, probably planning to steal medical supplies or research data." "That's not true," Marcus protested. "I can prove who I am. Call the research center. Ask for Dr. Elena Rodriguez. She's my research partner." "At midnight?" Ross laughed. "Right." Judge Hayes walked closer to Marcus. "Let me guess. You were in this area looking for drugs, weren't you? Or maybe selling them?" "I am a doctor," Marcus said firmly. "I save lives. I've developed treatments that have helped millions of people across dozens of worlds." "Millions of people?" Miller mocked. "Listen to this guy. He thinks he's some kind of hero. The only thing you've helped is yourself to other people's property. Judge Hayes added. I've seen this before. People forge credentials to gain access to restricted facilities. Marcus reached slowly into his jacket pocket. I have other identification. My medical license, my research credentials. Keep your hands where I can see them, Ross shouted, drawing his weapon. Marcus raised his hands immediately. I was just getting my other cards. Don't move, Miller ordered. He reached into Marcus's jacket and pulled out a wallet containing several cards. Look at all this fake identification. Medical license, research facility access card, even a Galactic Alliance permit. Judge Hayes examined the cards. These are very good fakes. Someone spent a lot of money making these. They're not fake, Marcus said desperately. Please just make one call to verify them. We don't need to verify anything, Judge Hayes replied. It's obvious what's going on here. You were probably planning to break into one of these warehouses. Marcus looked around at the empty buildings. Why would I want to break into old warehouses? Could be drugs stored in there, Ross suggested, or stolen goods. Or maybe you were meeting someone, Miller added, buying or selling something illegal. Judge Hayes nodded. Exactly what I was thinking. This whole story about being a doctor is just a cover. Marcus felt anger rising in his chest, but he forced himself to stay calm. Getting angry would only make things worse. I understand this looks suspicious, but I am telling the truth. I work at the research center. I develop medicines for humans and aliens. Aliens? Miller laughed. Now he's talking about aliens like they're his friends. Some of my closest colleagues are from other worlds, Marcus said. We work together to solve medical problems that affect multiple species. Judge Hayes shook her head. The lies just keep getting bigger. Next you'll tell us you're personal friends with the Zephyrian ambassador. Actually, I have treated members of the ambassador's family, Marcus said quietly. All 3 law enforcement officers burst into laughter. This is unbelievable, Ross said. He really expects us to believe this garbage. Judge Hayes stepped back and nodded to the officers. I've heard enough. Arrest him for possession of forged documents and suspicious behavior. Wait, Marcus pleaded. Please don't do this. People are depending on me. I have patients who need the treatment I'm developing. Miller pulled out handcuffs. You have the right to remain silent. As the cold metal closed around his wrists, Marcus closed his eyes. Somewhere across the galaxy, Princess Lyra was getting sicker. The treatment that could save her life was locked in his laboratory computer, waiting for him to return to work tomorrow morning. But tomorrow morning, Dr. Marcus Johnson would be sitting in a jail cell and nobody would know where to find him. Marcus sat on the hard metal bench in the detention cell. The bright lights overhead never turned off. He had been there for 12 hours. His back hurt and his head ached. The guards had taken his watch, so he did not know the exact time. He thought about the treatment he was developing. Princess Lyra needed it soon. The Zephyrian royal family had contacted him 3 weeks ago. Their daughter was dying from a rare genetic disease that affected both Zephyrian and human DNA. Marcus was the only doctor who had ever successfully treated this kind of cross-species condition. The detention center was noisy. Other prisoners talked loudly or banged on their cell doors. Guards walked up and down the hallway with heavy boots. Marcus tried to rest, but sleep would not come. At the Galactic Medical Research Center, Dr. Elena Rodriguez arrived for work at 7 in the morning. She expected to find Marcus already in the laboratory. He always came early when working on important cases. His empty office worried her. Elena checked the security logs. Marcus had left the building at 11:45 the night before. She called his home communicator but got no answer. She tried his personal device, still nothing. The emergency alert came at 8:15. Elena was reviewing test results when her computer screen flashed red. An urgent message appeared from the Galactic Medical Council. Emergency medical request. Princess Lyra of Zephyr experiencing critical condition. Genetic disorder type XH7 confirmed. Requesting immediate assistance from Dr. Marcus Johnson. Time sensitive. Patient condition deteriorating rapidly. Elena's hands shook as she read the message. XH7 was the exact condition Marcus had been studying. He was the only person who understood how to treat it. She tried calling him again. No response. She ran to the security office. Captain Gary Webb was drinking coffee and reading the morning reports. "I need help finding Dr. Johnson," Elena said breathlessly. "He didn't come to work today and we have a medical emergency." Captain Webb looked up from his reports. "When did you last see him?" "Last night around 11:30. He was working late on a treatment for Princess Lyra." Webb accessed the building's security system. His car left the parking garage at 11:47. The system shows his vehicle heading toward the residential district. Elena paced back and forth. Something's wrong. Marcus would never disappear during a medical crisis. He's too dedicated. Meanwhile, on the planet Zephyr, Emperor Korvax stood beside his daughter's bed. Princess Lyra was only 16 years old. Her blue-green skin had turned pale gray. Her breathing was shallow and irregular. The royal doctors had tried everything they knew, but nothing worked. "How long does she have?" the Emperor asked. Royal physician Thane checked the monitoring devices. "Without Dr. Johnson's treatment, perhaps 2 days, maybe less." Emperor Korvax's hands clenched into fists. "Contact Earth immediately. Tell them this is a matter of highest priority." Captain Lisa Martinez of the Galactic Security Force received the call at her office on Luna Station. The Zephyrian ambassador's voice was urgent and angry. "Captain Martinez, we need Dr. Marcus Johnson brought to Zephyr immediately. Our princess is dying, and he is the only one who can save her." "I'll contact Earth right away," Lisa promised. She had worked with Marcus before during the Altarian plague crisis. He was brilliant and completely trustworthy. Lisa called the Galactic Medical Research Center. Elena answered on the first ring. "Thank goodness someone called," Elena said. "Marcus is missing. He never came to work today." "Missing?" Lisa felt a cold fear in her stomach. "What do you mean, missing?" "He left work last night and never arrived home. I've been trying to reach him all morning." Lisa switched her computer to emergency mode. "I'm putting out a galaxy-wide alert." "What was he driving?" Elena gave her the details of Marcus's hover car. Within minutes, the information was being broadcast to every security station in the solar system. At New Terra City Police Headquarters, the alert appeared on Officer Jake Preston's computer screen. He read it twice, then walked quickly to his supervisor's office. "Lieutenant Cooper, we might have a problem," Jake said. He showed her the alert. "Dr. Marcus Johnson, wanted for medical emergency. Described as a black male age 38 driving a blue hover car." Lieutenant Sandra Cooper read the alert carefully. "Why is this a problem?" "Because we have a Marcus Johnson in detention. Arrested last night by Miller and Ross. They said he was carrying fake identification claiming to be a doctor." Cooper's face went white. "Get me the arrest report immediately." Jake brought the file. Cooper read it and felt sick. The man sitting in their detention center was the same person the entire galaxy was looking for. "Get Judge Hayes on the phone," Cooper ordered, "and call the detention center. Tell them to treat prisoner Johnson with full respect." At the detention center, Warden Paul Adams received the call. He looked confused as he hung up the phone. He walked to Marcus's cell himself. "Dr. Johnson?" Adams said through the bars. Marcus looked up. "Yes?" "There seems to have been a mistake. A very big mistake." Before Adams could explain, alarms began ringing throughout the building. The emergency communication system activated. "All staff report to stations immediately. We have incoming diplomatic vessels requesting prisoner transfer." Adams looked out the window. 3 large ships were descending from the sky. They were unlike any Earth vessels he had ever seen. Their hulls gleamed silver and gold in the morning sun. The first ship landed in the detention center's courtyard. The Zephyrian flag was painted on its side. Tall figures in flowing robes emerged from the ship. Their skin was blue-green, and their eyes were large and dark. Commander Zach Vorthen led the group. He was 7 feet tall with broad shoulders and a stern expression. Behind him came 6 other Zephyrians, all wearing ceremonial armor. The second ship carried Altarian delegates. They were shorter than humans with golden skin and 4 arms. Their leader, Ambassador Nyx Goldenwing, carried a scroll with official seals. The third ship brought representatives from the Centauri system. They looked almost human except for their silver hair and purple eyes. General Kate Starborn stepped out wearing the uniform of the Galactic Alliance military. Warden Adams met them at the entrance. His hands were shaking. "We demand the immediate release of Dr. Marcus Johnson," Commander Vorthen announced. His voice was deep and powerful. "He is needed for a medical emergency of the highest importance." "There must be some misunderstanding," Adams stammered. "The prisoner was arrested for carrying false identification." Ambassador Goldenwing unrolled his scroll. "Dr. Marcus Johnson is a recognized citizen of the Galactic Alliance. He holds the highest medical clearances from 17 different worlds. His identification is genuine, and his reputation is beyond question." General Starborn stepped forward. "Warden Adams, you are holding one of the most important medical researchers in the galaxy. Princess Lyra of Zephyr is dying, and Dr. Johnson is her only hope for survival." Adams felt the world spinning around him. I need to make some calls." "You need to release him now," Commander Vorthen said firmly. "Every minute you delay brings the princess closer to death." Inside his cell, Marcus heard voices in the hallway. They were speaking languages he recognized: Zephyrian, Altarian, and Centauri. His colleagues from across the galaxy had come for him. For the first time since his arrest, Marcus smiled. Help had arrived. Judge Patricia Hayes was having breakfast when her personal communicator buzzed urgently. She looked at the caller identification and frowned. It was Lieutenant Cooper from the police headquarters. "Judge Hayes, we have a serious situation," Cooper said without greeting. "The man arrested last night, Marcus Johnson. His identification was real." Patricia nearly choked on her coffee. "What do you mean real?" "He really is Dr. Marcus Johnson from the Galactic Medical Research Center. The detention facility is surrounded by alien diplomatic ships. They're demanding his immediate release." Patricia felt her stomach drop. "That's impossible. I saw him myself. He was obviously lying." "Judge, you need to get down here right now. This is becoming an international incident." Patricia ended the call and sat in silence. Her mind raced back to the previous night. The man had seemed so calm, so polite. He had insisted he was telling the truth. She had been so certain he was lying. At the detention center, news crews were arriving. Reporters from Earth Broadcasting. Network set up cameras outside the gates. The story was spreading fast across the galaxy. Inside the facility, Warden Adams led the alien delegates to Marcus's cell. Commander Vorthen's expression grew darker when he saw the small, dirty cell where Marcus had spent the night. "This is how Earth treats one of the galaxy's greatest healers?" the commander asked angrily. Marcus stood up from the metal bench. "Commander Vorthen, thank you for coming. How is Princess Lyra?" "She grows weaker by the hour," Vorthen replied. "We need to get you to Zephyr immediately." Ambassador Goldenwing stepped forward. "Dr. Johnson, the Altarian Council sends their gratitude for your work during our plague crisis. 50 million of our people are alive because of your research. You saved my nephew during the Centauri War," General Starborn added. "His neural implant was failing. Your treatment restored his brain function completely." Warden Adams listened in shock. The man in the cell was not just a doctor. He was a hero to multiple alien species. Dr. Elena Rodriguez arrived with a team of lawyers. She carried a large case filled with documents and data chips. Her face was red with anger. "Where is he?" she demanded. Adams led her to the cell area. When Elena saw Marcus behind bars, her eyes filled with tears. "Marcus, I'm so sorry. I should have looked for you sooner." "It's not your fault," Marcus said gently. "You couldn't have known this would happen." Elena opened her case and pulled out a holographic projector. "Warden Adams, I want you to see exactly who you've been holding prisoner." She activated the device. A 3-dimensional image appeared in the air. It showed Marcus in a white laboratory coat working alongside alien scientists. "This is Dr. Marcus Johnson treating Zephyrian children during the genetic plague of 2387, Elena explained. He worked for 6 months without pay to develop a cure. The image changed. Now it showed Marcus receiving an award from the Galactic Medical Council. This is him being honored as Physician of the Year for 3 consecutive years, Elena continued. More images appeared. Marcus teaching alien medical students. Marcus working in refugee camps on war-torn planets. Marcus shaking hands with the Emperor of Altair after ending a disease that had killed thousands. Commander Vorthen spoke to Adams directly. Your officers arrested the most respected doctor in the galaxy. He has saved more lives than any healer in recorded history. Judge Patricia Hayes arrived at the detention center. News reporters surrounded her car, shouting questions. She pushed through the crowd without speaking. Inside, she found chaos. Alien delegates filled the hallways. Security guards looked confused and frightened. The warden was sweating heavily. Judge Hayes, Adam said when he saw her. Thank goodness you're here. We need to release the prisoner immediately. I can see that, Patricia replied, looking around at the alien visitors. Elena Rodriguez approached her. Judge Hayes, I presume? I'm Dr. Elena Rodriguez, director of the Galactic Medical Research Center. Patricia nodded nervously. I want you to understand what happened last night, Elena said firmly. You helped arrest the man who developed treatments for 17 different alien diseases. He has worked with royal families, military leaders, and common citizens across dozens of worlds. Elena activated another holographic display. These are testimonials from his patients. A small blue child appeared in the image. She spoke in Zephyrian, but the translator provided subtitles. Dr. Johnson fixed my broken heart. Now I can run and play like other children. The image changed to show an Altarian soldier. He gave me back my sight after I was injured in battle. I can see my family again because of him. More testimonials followed. Parents thanking Marcus for saving their children. Soldiers grateful for restored limbs. Entire communities celebrating diseases that no longer existed. Judge Hayes watched, in growing horror. Each testimonial made her feel smaller and more ashamed. Officer Kevin Miller arrived at the detention center. He had been called in to explain the arrest. When he saw the crowd of aliens, his face went pale. What's going on here? He asked Adams. The man you arrested last night, Adams replied. He really is Dr. Marcus Johnson. Miller looked confused. That's impossible. He was just some guy with fake identification. Commander Vorthen overheard and approached Miller. The alien was nearly 2 feet taller than the officer. Some guy? Vorthen repeated. Dr. Johnson saved my daughter's life when she was born with heart defects. He is considered family among my people. Officer Danny Ross arrived a few minutes later. He saw his partner talking to the tall alien and hurried over. Danny, Miller whispered, we made a big mistake. Ambassador Goldenwing joined the conversation. Officers in Altarian culture, Dr. Johnson is known as the Great Healer. Children learn songs about his kindness. We have statues of him in our medical schools, General Starborn added. He represents the best of what healers can be. Elena stepped forward with another document. This is his security clearance from the Galactic Alliance. It's the highest level possible. He has access to classified medical research on every member world. Judge Hayes read the document. The clearance level was higher than her own judicial authority. Marcus Johnson could legally enter restricted areas that she could not. He tried to show us these documents, Officer Ross said quietly. We thought they were fake. You thought they were fake because you made assumptions, Elena replied sharply. You saw a black man and decided he couldn't possibly be important. The truth of her words hit everyone in the room. The arrest had nothing to do with evidence or facts. It was based purely on prejudice. Marcus spoke from his cell. I don't want anyone to be angry. Mistakes happen. What matters now is helping Princess Lyra. His calm response made Judge Hayes feel even worse. After everything they had done to him, he was still thinking about his patient. Commander Vorthen turned to Adams. We are taking Dr. Johnson to Zephyr immediately. Every moment's delay could cost the princess her life. Of course, Adams replied. He personally opened the cell door. Marcus stepped out and stretched his stiff muscles. He had spent 14 hours in the small cell. My equipment is at the research center, he told Elena. I'll need the portable lab and the genetic sequencer. Everything is already loaded on the ship, Elena assured him. As they prepared to leave, Marcus stopped and looked back at Judge Hayes and the two officers. I hope you learn from this, he said simply. Everyone deserves to be judged by their actions, not by how they look. Then he walked away with the alien delegates, leaving behind 3 law enforcement officers who finally understood the magnitude of their mistake. 3 days after Princess Lyra's recovery, Dr. Marcus Johnson returned to Earth. The Zephyrian royal ship landed at the Galactic Medical Research Center to a crowd of thousands. People had come from across the planet to welcome him home. Marcus stepped off the ship wearing simple civilian clothes. He looked tired but peaceful. Emperor Korvac walked beside him, along with Princess Lyra, who was now completely healthy. Dr. Johnson, a reporter called out, how do you feel about returning to Earth after what happened to you? Marcus stopped and faced the cameras. I feel grateful that Princess Lyra is alive, grateful that we could work together to save her life. That's what matters most. But aren't you angry about your arrest? Another reporter asked. Anger doesn't heal people, Marcus replied. Understanding does, learning does, change does. President Maria Santos was waiting at the research center. She approached Marcus with a formal document in her hands. Dr. Johnson, on behalf of Earth's government, I offer you our deepest apology, she said. What happened to you was wrong and unacceptable. Marcus accepted the apology with dignity. Thank you, Madam President. I hope we can use this experience to make things better for everyone. The President handed him the document. This is Earth's new Anti-Discrimination Act. It's named the Johnson Protocol in your honor. Marcus read the document carefully. The new law required all law enforcement officers to receive training about different cultures and species. It created harsh punishments for arrests based on prejudice. It also established review boards to investigate complaints of discrimination. This is a good start, Marcus said. But laws alone don't change hearts. We need education and understanding, too. Emperor Korvac stepped forward. Dr. Johnson, the Zephyrian Empire wants to honor you with our highest civilian award. He presented Marcus with a crystal pendant shaped like a healing symbol. You are now a guardian of life in our culture. This title has never been given to someone from another world. Princess Lyra approached Marcus shyly. Dr. Johnson, I made something for you. She handed him a small drawing showing him working in the medical lab. Thank you, Princess, Marcus said gently. I'll treasure this always. The ceremony continued as representatives from other worlds presented their own honors. The Alterians gave him their Medal of Healing. The Centauri delegation awarded him the Star of Compassion. But Marcus seemed most interested in the group of young students who had gathered to see him. Children from many different worlds and species watched with wide eyes. These are the future healers, Marcus told the crowd. They don't see differences in skin color or species. They only see people who need help. The Galactic Council reconvened the next day. The assembly hall was packed again, but the mood was different now. Instead of anger, there was hope for positive change. Ambassador Chen Wei stood to address the assembly. The events of the past week have taught Earth a valuable lesson. We cannot let prejudice destroy the relationships we have built with our allies. Emperor Korvac rose from his seat. Dr. Johnson's treatment not only saved my daughter's life, it created a new framework for treating genetic diseases across all species. His work will help millions of beings throughout the galaxy. The Emperor paused and looked around the hall. However, the insult to him cannot be ignored. We demand justice for what happened. Ambassador Wei nodded. Earth accepts full responsibility. The officers involved have been dismissed from service. Judge Hayes has been removed from the bench permanently. They will face criminal charges for civil rights violations. That is not enough, the Alterian ambassador said. We need guarantees that this will never happen again. President Santos appeared on the main viewing screen. The Johnson Protocol is now law on Earth. Every law enforcement officer must complete 40 hours of diversity training each year. We're also creating the Interspecies Relations Institute to promote understanding between different cultures. Chancellor Vex from Centauri asked, "What about compensation for the diplomatic damage?" Earth will establish a $10 billion credit fund for medical research, the president announced. Dr. Johnson will direct how the money is used to develop treatments for diseases affecting multiple species. The delegates discussed the proposals for several hours. Finally, Emperor Korvac called for a vote. All in favor of accepting Earth's response to this incident? 43 worlds voted yes. 4 abstained. None voted no. The Galactic Council accepts Earth's commitment to change, Emperor Korvac declared. Trade agreements will be restored gradually as progress is demonstrated. Meanwhile, Judge Patricia Hayes sat in a small apartment she had rented after losing her house. Her savings were gone, spent on legal fees. No law firm would hire her. Her career was over at age 52. She spent her days reading about the people Dr. Johnson had helped. The more she learned, the worse she felt about her actions that night. Hayes decided to write him a letter. "Dr. Johnson, I know my apology cannot undo the harm I caused. I let my prejudices blind me to the truth about who you are. I'm enrolling in classes about different cultures and species. I want to spend the rest of my life fighting the same prejudice. That made me hurt you. If there's any way I can help make things right, please let me know." Officers Miller and Ross faced similar struggles. No police department would hire them. They took jobs as security guards at a shopping center, making barely enough money to survive. But unlike Judge Hayes, they used their experience differently. They began speaking at schools and community centers about the dangers of prejudice. "We destroyed our careers and nearly caused a war because we couldn't see past the color of someone's skin," Miller told high school students. "Don't make the same mistake we did." Dr. Marcus Johnson read Judge Hayes' letter in his office. He thought for a long time, then wrote back, "Ms. Hayes, everyone deserves a chance to learn and grow. If you're sincere about changing, there are many ways to help. The Civil Rights Legal Clinic needs volunteers to help people who face discrimination. Your legal experience could be valuable there." 6 months later, Hayes was working 20 hours a week at the clinic, helping victims of prejudice fight for justice. She never earned much money, but she found purpose in the work. The Johnson Protocol became a model for other worlds. The Altarian Empire adopted similar laws. The Centauri Federation created their own version. Even non-alliance worlds began implementing anti-discrimination policies. Dr. Johnson continued his research, developing new treatments that saved countless lives. But he also became a symbol of something larger. His story reminded people across the galaxy that greatness could come from anywhere, and that judging others by their appearance was not just wrong, but dangerous. At the annual Galactic Medical Conference, Marcus gave the closing speech to an audience of 10,000 doctors from hundreds of worlds. "Medicine teaches us that life is precious in all its forms," he said. "When we heal someone, we don't ask about their skin color, their species, or their background. We just see someone who needs help." He paused and looked out at the diverse crowd. "That's how we should see each other every day. Not as different or foreign, but as fellow beings sharing this universe together. When we do that, when we truly see each other, that's when we become our best selves." The audience stood and applauded for 5 full minutes. In that moment, representatives from across the galaxy were united not by politics or trade, but by a simple truth that a humble doctor from Earth had reminded them to remember. Sometimes the greatest victories come not from conquest, but from the courage to treat all beings with dignity and respect.